not attempt to adjust your settings. Everything is as it is and as it should be. It's time for the weird and wonderful world.
Horrible for no man. Very with no.
Not intended for all audiences. Can cause brain swelling, internal hemorrhaging, dry mouth, constipation, lowered inhibitions, and increased libido.
That's your such news. Mask it on you.
Hi, and welcome to Weird and Wonderful World. I'm Andy Pee Wee Pruitt, P-W-E-E-P-R-U-I-T-T.
You got it right.
I got it. I did it the first time. This time, I was thinking about it though. I was doing like the bouncing ball, like the sing along in my head. So I got that down. And I'm here with a young man who could be a double agent. We're not quite sure yet. Hey, can you actually lift up your shirt for me so I can see if you have or do not have a wire on you? Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah.
Okay, I believe you. Pacey Maker. How you doing, Pacey?
Pretty good. Going on, feeling strong.
Very good,
Very
good.
You know that song?
I don't, but
Quit my job blowing leaves, telephone bills up my sleeves, choke 'em like a one-man dust ball.
Nope, not at all. I don't know. I can't even pretend like I know what it is.
Okay.
How's life been treating you?
Good. Yeah.
A little tired today, but carrying on. Nevertheless.
Existence is exhausting sometimes.
Ooh, I did hear that. Where did I hear that at?
I don't know. I've said it before.
That's probably where I heard it at, listening to our podcast. Well, today's episode, I gotta tell you, is scary. In one word, scary. We've covered ghosts and cults and weird movies.
Bugaboos, aka them cryptids.
Yeah, cryptids. Things that will bump you in the night.
We're not talking about rapists either. We're talking about cryptids.
No, but we have talked about Midnight Sneaky Uncles.
Yeah.
And this is the scariest of them all.
Yeah,
so
we're not.
far.
Yeah, we're not talking about the one time I got sodomized by a fucking massage chair. Not talking about that though.
Wait, I think we need to talk about the one time you got sodomized by a massage chair. How does that work? How do you get sodomized? Because you said massage chair, not lawn chair, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess technically, I guess because I was fully clothed, there is no penetration. But
that'd be like saying because I used a condom, there was no penetration.
I mean, there was pants, underwear, whatever.
So there's okay. So that
I'm just saying, Great Lakes Crossing, watch out. One of them chairs will get you.
Oh
shit.
Oh, you said one of the mall chairs.
Yeah.
Oh.
They fucking grab your arms and your ankles so you can't fucking get out, and then it gives you that bump.
How do you know there just wasn't some pervert sitting up in that chair, just hip thrusting you?
Well, because they're set back to back. It's going to be some tiny little snake man slithering up in between them cracks.
You've never seen people like hiding inside it, like hollow out furniture, and they're hiding inside of it?
Well, yeah, you're talking about like Frank Reynolds.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
you paid for some freaking guy to drive up.
I was sitting right there. My dad was getting it done too. Not the sodomize. I go. I'm sitting there. I'm like, oh, and he's like, what's wrong? I'm like, oh. I'm like, there's a bump. He's like, what? I'm like, oh. I'm like, I can't get up. Oh. I'm like, it's got my ankles. Because at the same time, yeah, it's grabbing your ankles, your arms. So you just got to take it. And like, I don't know. I'd say an inch and a half, maybe 2 of a bump. We're talking about like.
No, it sounds like, yeah, I mean, it sounds like you may have been molested, sir, without even knowing it. I guess.
I was the first person to ever get fucked by an AI. Like an artificial intelligent massage chair.
Yep. I guess even with there being the 3 layers of material between you and this massage chair, I think the real question here is penetration. Like if your body was physically penetrated, then yeah, you were molested by a massage chair. You were assaulted, sir. Whether it be by AI or whether it be by some pervy Oompa Loompa living inside of a massage chair. I think you just picked wrong, my friend. You picked the wrong chair.
I'm never using one of those again.
No. Why would you?
Especially at Great Lakes Crossing.
You ever see the people just plop down in them? with their freaking spandex suits on, their back cheese and everything else. They kind of wallow themselves out of the trailer
Well,
park.
I've never really seen anyone use one. It's always I'm walking by and it's like, please place $1 in to use me. Please place $1 in.
That's funny.
It's more like, please place $1 in so I can use you.
Exactly. Wow. Well, I guess the big question in all of this is, was it a happy ending massage?
No, you heard me. I was like, trying to get, not like, like a good, like, I gotta get out of here. Using all my.
I did hear you, but
yeah, trying to.
I still.
There's no escaping that. Cruel and unusual punishment. Can I fucking sue that massage chair company? Oh, I probably could.
You probably could. Be like, I had to buy new
Sue
underwear and
that.
pants. Listen, if you did, sir, I'm not. Nobody, this is 2018.
I know.
It's okay. It's okay.
People are marrying ghosts.
This is a safe place.
Why not get fucked by a
Yes.
massage chair?
Why
What's up?
don't you marry a massage chair?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You'd be
we know one that's at least doing some fucking.
man. So you got
Fucking and sensual massaging.
you got cucked by a massage chair while your dad was sitting there watching. That is that is.
It's not like he could do
whole
anything.
level.
He was.
No, I'm sure. Yeah, he was
strapped
probably enjoying
down.
his. You know what I mean? He's probably like, this ain't too. What are you over there belly aching about? I'll be looking for that wedding invitation between you and the massage chair here. Well, I am an ordained minister, so I'm not that strict. So I will marry you in the massage chair if you want to. We may have to get out into international waters, out in the Great Lakes, to do it. But I'm willing to try it. I'm willing to try anything. A helicopter just flew over.
Bro, they know what we're gonna be talking about.
They do know.
That's some low.
That was a low flying helicopter, and even though we were near an airport,
we're not that near.
No, not, and I've never really heard a helicopter like that come by.
No.
That kind of fits in with our topic today, which is going to be bad government,
Yeah.
false flag operation, things like
Mhm.
that. Wow. So I think we're being spied on, sir.
Mm-hmm.
I would actually almost actually.
I
didn't sweep the studio for bug.
I bet one government official listens to every single podcast to make sure there's no super dubious podcast division.
They have some CIA analyst, and poor kid, sitting in Quantico, Virginia.
I mean, do you have a smart TV? Because they can tap into that shit.
No, I do not have a
Okay,
smart
good.
TV.
You got one of them Connects. Remember, you heard
No,
a story
no
about
Connect,
them
no
Connects.
Connect. So I'm only a tinfoil hat and a black and white TV away from living in my basement. That's how much this episode's got me shook right now.
You know what fucks me up is people buy Google Dots and Amazon Alexas.
The Alexas,
I'm like,
yep.
and they're like, I don't care if people listen to me. Really? Because you should.
I do.
And it's crazy because they're like, they're practically giving them things away every like new week. There's a new deal on the Amazon Alexa. It's like, buy a fucking candle and we'll give you one for free. You're like, what the hell do I need a candle for? It costs 10 cents. Just get it. Yeah. I'm like, fuck. I don't want.
I've had it before where you Google search something and then all of a sudden it turns up in all of your news feeds. It turns up in all of your social media.
Yeah.
And anytime you do a web search, it's there in advertisements. And I thought, oh, okay, all right. So I did search this. All right, I'm sure that the government is tracking my every freaking move online, or at least.
Especially now that we're Googling this weird shit, cults and fucking government conspiracies and all sorts of shit.
Yeah.
I'm like, please, nobody look at my YouTube.
Well, and this is probably the first time I've seen. It's the first time I've actually visited my grandma in a couple years because I had to go use her computer to do all this stuff. Fortunately, she's got dial-up. So it's sit down and all that
it's
stuff.
Pretty much like a fucking Model T. You gotta crank that bitch to
Right,
get anything.
right.
Going.
That's one thing to struggle, man. People will never know.
Somebody makes a phone call, you're fucked.
Yeah, you're like, I was looking at. Yeah.
Myra, I'm 10 years old. Myra, I'm trying to play fucking Neopet.
Yep. Well,
Fucking Merc Chase or whatever.
what I had. Thank God. I don't know how or where I found it, but I found this old AOL.com free 1,028 minutes online.
Was it in his fucking cereal box?
It was something
Or they
else.
sent it
So
through the mail?
I put the code in, and I got the free 1,028 minutes on AOL. So I'm sure that Grandma's probably getting her door knocked down right now. Should be all right. She's old. Should be all right.
Yeah. She can just play possum.
Yeah. Well, Be like Betty White, they ain't got me, bitch. Let's kick this son of a gun off, all right?
Right.
A lot of the things that we'll be talking about today are false flag operations. A false flag is a covert operation. It's where one group commits an act against another group under the quote-unquote flag of another group. Let's say that I spent days and weeks and months telling my family how much of a jerk you are and how irrational you are and how dangerous you are. And then one day I went and I got my best Pacey maker outfit on, my best Pacey maker mask on, and I busted in through my front door and I just dropped my pants and I took a big steaming pile of shit right in the living room, right in front of my family, and then ran back out the door, got changed, came in through the back door, and then pretended like, holy cow, I've been telling you for so long that Pacey has been crazy, and then sat there and made my wife clean it up, and then watched her get angry at you for shitting on her floor. That's what a false flag operation is. That's me bringing pain to my own people just to prove that you're a jerk. You know, and that's, to me, that's the epitome of a false flag operation, because you're shitting on your own soil. That's what you're doing, and you're making your own people suffer.
But I have shit in front of him and ran in the bathroom leaving a trail of shit.
Well, you were under the influence of Swiss Chris, though. Yeah. So that's not, I mean,
I was going to say a false flag operation is kind of like when you're playing flag football and there's red and yellow flags, and instead of using yellow, you use pieces of American cheese. And they ramming that cheese.
That sounds delicious. That's actually flag football I might actually play. Like, he bit me. He'd be like...
Man, don't be talking about getting bit. I got bit in the leg by this crazy kid up in 5th grade.
For real?
Yeah.
I got bit on my arm, on my forearm, fist fighting a kid. Not a kid. We were both like 19, and he bit me.
Bro, if you biting you a kid, I don't give a fuck what age you are. That's children material.
I had him. We were on the ground.
Psychopaths and children bite.
Yep, we were on the ground because almost every fight is going to end up on the ground. No, none of us are Buster Douglas. And I had him in a headlock, and I was pounding on his pineal gland, and he freaking someone went to go drag me off of him by my feet, and he bit me on the arm. And then everybody jumps in, and of course they break it up and whatnot. And this was about the same time where we had the Mike Tyson and Evander Holyfield fight, where Mike took a bite out of Evander's ear. And I don't remember, did he swallow that or not? I don't think he did. I think he spit it out. So then, of course, like I said, if I'm going to fight, I'm talking shit. I'm like, why you bite me, Mike? Why you bite me? Oh, man. Yeah, good memories. Good memories. So, either way, false flag. It is a term that originated with pirates flying the more friendly flags of other countries to lull passing ships into a false sense of security before springing on them. They're not going to do anything. And then, all of a sudden, bam! Switch it up on them at the last minute. Blast them, board them, steal their stuff. False flag right there. This episode, like I said before, is scary. Scary. Like, legitimately, this is like the first really, truly scary episode we've ever done. Because of how true it is. It's kind of hard to make fun of a government attacking its own people, to kind of carry out whatever missions they think. Yeah, to carry out their agendas. Absolutely. This is going to be a little more of a serious episode. We're still going to clown around like we always do, but a lot of it is going to be more serious, especially when we talk about the government portion of it. False flag operations are commonly used as a pretext or precursor to war or to provoke one side against another. They're used mainly to undermine government leadership, both foreign and domestic, and wow. That's what's crazy is it doesn't matter. They don't care. If they're running a false flag operation, they can be, it's fair game on anybody.
Yeah.
It's not like we're sending CIA operatives over to
when I was doing research,
anywhere.
I think it was in the CIA handbook of got in there in 1993 and then updated in 2003 or something. It said that they're able to assassinate any person of power as long as it's for the good of their country, which I'm paraphrasing a little bit.
Why would a country carry out a false flag operation on your own people?
To unite them.
Well, exactly. And why I was searching Operation Northwoods, I came across a quote the brainchild of Lyman Lemonster, and he was the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. And along with him, the U.S. Department of Defense, the CIA, they came up with this plan to really blame a lot of things on Cuba that happened in the U.S. and in
anything
Cuba.
that fucking went bad.
Anything. And this was
car accident. That was a fucking Cuban pebble right there.
Exactly. Like somebody got lung cancer. Oh, must have been one of the Cuban cigars.
Dude, from like a 3-month period, anyone that went to the hospital, they were like, "Oh, it was Cubans." They're like,
Yeah.
you got whooping cough."
Yep.
The Cubans.
Well, I mean, this is
Shut
one
up
of
your
the.
toe. It was that fucking damn Cubans.
This is one of the direct quotes from these documents that were released about Operation Northwoods. The desired resultant from the execution of this plan would be to place the United States in the apparent position of suffering defensible grievances from a rash and irresponsible government of Cuba, and to develop an international image of a Cuban threat to peace in the Western Hemisphere. They were willing to do whatever it took to make Cuba look like the crazy girlfriend. Like total gaslighting Cuba, just to be like, oh, they need to be took out. They need to be took out.
All because they didn't like Fidel Castro. That's not who they wanted in power.
Of course, the U.S. isn't very happy with Castro. He has sided with the Russians. They are a communist country, and they are danger close to the United States. And there is, I mean, the Bay of Pigs and the Cuban Missile Crisis and all that stuff. I don't want to give the government any excuses for even coming up with this idea by validating it by saying anything about what the Cuban government was doing or anything like that. Because really, these things are, there's no excuse for these things that they were planning on doing. If Cuba is going to be a problem, then let them be a problem. Don't just manifest or build them out of thin air.
Don't make them a bigger threat than they are. They're a tiny fucking island. Why try to make them seem this big bad boogeyman by killing your own civilians, your innocent civilians?
You had a quick little quip about Castro's girlfriend?
Oh, yeah. The CIA got Fidel Castro a mistress by the name of Marta Lauren.
Okay.
Probably a little bit of, Spanish accent to the name. I'm not going to attempt it. But she did have a child with Castro.
Okay.
But because she was his mistress, she was forced to have an abortion. And like I said, she was used by the CIA to try to kill Castro. And she was trying to slip him a pill, and she put it in her face cream to save it for later.
Seriously.
It dissolved, and she forgot about it. So when she used the face cream, she killed herself.
Dummy. It would have been they didn't have to do all of that. All they had to do was protect her long enough to have the kid, and the child support alone would have killed him. Like, really, like, they over-engineered that one. Really over-engineered that one. Jeez, oh, Pete. Yeah, that sounds like the government for you. Screwing everything up. We're doing too much and screwing everything up on the way. I have a few other examples, some operations that they suggested for Northwoods. What they did was they planned on having a series of well-coordinated incidents, such as releasing fighter jet parts off the coast of Cuba to simulate an aircraft being shot down, having fake radio transmissions from that area claiming that they were being shot down. When Cuba comes out, they would take pictures and they would say that Cuba has done this, you know what I mean? And then they would have photographic evidence because, like, oh, we got these jet pieces, we got Cuban ships out there, or they would explode something off the coast of Cuba, whether it be a plane or a boat. When Cuba comes out, because they're like, oh, who's knocking on our door? They would document that, and they would claim that the Cubans did this, and then they would release the information to the media, to the public, and say, oh, Cuba shot down one of our planes, Cuba blew up a boat. And then when you send out the rescue parties, they're to search for people, you've got people that aren't even connected with this that are now seeing these things, this evidence, quote unquote. Another thing they were planning on doing was making twin planes, taking a plane full of CIA operatives, agents, putting them on a commercial flight, rerouting that flight without the knowledge of any air traffic controllers, having them land at a military installation, taking another plane that's exactly identical, but that is being flown remotely, to take over the flight path of said plane, and then flying it over Cuban airspace and exploding it. And again, giving the fake radio transmission of being attacked. This is what these people were willing to go through, taking several different moving parts, putting them all together to make it really look like Cuba was doing these things to not only American military personnel, but then also to the civilians. Another idea that they had was taking people in Cuba here that were friendly to the United States, dressing them up as Cuban military personnel, and having them break into military camps, bases, installations, having them blow up munitions, having them blow up aircraft, vehicles, and then having them get caught. Cuban military personnel on American soil carrying out these terror attacks. Another thing that they were planning on doing was taking mortars and having them lob mortars into American installations, killing American soldiers to, again, make it look like the Cuban government was carrying out these terror attacks on U.S. soil. They planned on going as far as having, if not enough people were injured or harmed, or if no people were injured or harmed, they would have mock funerals with empty caskets for these people, like where they would carry out everything. Everything would be the same as a regular funeral, but they would have empty caskets. They would have empty lists of people who were murdered, service personnel, exaggerating lists of names of people killed in the newspapers, of military personnel killed listed in these newspapers. They also planned on murdering U.S. civilians. They were planning on carrying out bombing attacks in Florida and D.C. They were going to apprehend Cuban dissidents or Cuban people that were living here in the U.S., providing documentation to the media, claiming that these people were responsible, and then prosecuting those people. Yeah, they even planned to murder U.S. civilians by carrying out fake bombs or real bombs, if need be. And here's the thing is people say, well, if they did try this, then people would know and people would speak out about these things. They, in this document, the CIA, the Joint Chiefs of Staff.
Well, the thing about this stuff is it stays classified for like 30 fucking years, and then who has time to really read 30-year-old declassified stuff? And it's only what they want to declassify. This is just the tip of the iceberg. This is the most mellow of the shit that they did, I guess.
We wouldn't even have known about this had not been for the Kennedy Library releasing these documents. This would have been something that would have been swept under the rug, just lost to the annals of history. We really would not have had any idea that this stuff was going on. And it's like I said, this is scary. Some scary stuff. When we talk about the Department of Defense, the CIA, Joint Chiefs of Staff, when they drafted this Operation Northwoods, they even said, listen, we don't want to tell any other organizations about this. This stays here with us. And when you have several moving parts that are independent of each other, it becomes a shell game. You're moving things here, you're moving things there. This part A has no idea what part B is doing, which then in turn, goes to part C. So it would be very easy to orchestrate these, to put different moving plans, and then to execute these things later on. A good way of getting sympathy for these by using your civilian and military rescue workers. Because when you have these operations that go off, when you have these bombs that go off, when you have these jets and boats and different things, military installations that are being attacked, and then you send in your rescue workers to rescue people, or to help out, or to help in a cleanup effort, or to search, or whatever it may be, they're going to see these pieces. They're going to see the aftermath of these explosions. And then they're going to be able to report for you what happened. It's just, it's insane how far they were willing to go to manipulate, to murder. I'm sure there's some other M words I could come up with right now, but it is insane that the U.S. government would even consider doing these things, let alone go as far as to draft a plan, an operation. And the only reason that this was not carried out was because of John F. Kennedy. He saw it, nixed it, that was supposedly supposed to have been the last that you would have heard of it. So just one man.
Yeah, he wanted to disband the CIA. That's why he got murdered.
Oh yeah, they murked him. They took him out. They were like
the CIA along with the Italian mob.
Yep.
We all know 5 out of the 7 Watergate burglars were Bay of Pigs survivors, right?
Tell me more about this Bay of Pigs.
Bay of Pigs was illegal, totally 100% illegal attack. That's what I would call it, because that's what it was, on Cuba by Eisenhower and the CIA.
Didn't they outfit some Cuban nationals who were unhappy with Castro? They gave him pretty much military backing, but just not personnel. They gave him equipment, they gave him weapons, they gave him all these things to go in and be able to try to overthrow Castro's regime, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, also, the U.S. government told them that they were going to have people in the air for him, air support. Didn't happen. Castro knew they were fucking coming. On the beach, they had storm lights, so they'd, flick them up. They had barbed wire all over. It was
like D-Day.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Cuban D-Day.
Yeah, exactly. I was literally going to say that. Yeah.
Except for they were roasting goats.
Yeah.
All right.
That's why it was a straight up slaughter, because why else would it be if Castro didn't know they were coming?
Right. I have to say, if you've already have some people that are living on Cuban soil, and you are going to start a war or whatever, or start to overthrow a government, why would you go out to sea and then come back? You know what I mean? Like, that doesn't make much sense to me. Why don't you just start it right there, like center of the country, just pop out of a spider hole and be like, we gotcha, rather than being like, let's get everything around, let's take it about 20 miles out of shore and let's try to land this baby. I guess hindsight is 20/20 in this aspect.
Does the name E. Howard Hunt bring up anything that you ran across?
Hunt's Ketchup?
Oh, so you didn't hear about him at all?
No, I don't know about E. Howard Hunt.
Okay, yeah, he was part of the Bay of Pigs, and they also say he was part of the Kennedy assassination.
Was he on the grassy knoll?
Exactly, yeah, he was the one that orchestrated the Bay of Pigs, who on his deathbed said he was part of the Kennedy assassination.
Wow.
Yeah.
On his deathbed. See,
yeah.
E. Howard Hunt.
Yes, E. Howard Hunt.
I'll have to search that gentleman out a little more. Jesus. All right.
And, well, did you ever hear about the hobos, the well-dressed hobos that were on the train spotted near the assassination?
No, then this is quickly turning into a JFK assassination episode, which I'm fine
well,
with.
It all comes together.
Right. So we've got some dapper brindle stiffs.
Yeah, one of the reported hobos was none other than E. Howard Hunt.
Was one of them frickin' Dick Cheney?
And that's why I don't believe in karma, because that man
He's a reptilian. He is a satanistic reptilian. Yes. Well, this shows
2.5 toe knuckles in each toe. Like, what the fuck?
Got opposable thumbs on his feet.
No, he's like Invader Zim from Dark Harvest. If you get that reference.
Okay. No,
he's just like, the more hearts I have, the more human I am. No, motherfucker, you are Satan.
He's an evil dude.
Whoa.
He's an evil dude.
He is a demon. I don't know. I'd say Ronald Reagan was more of the devil.
Oh, you can't say that. Ronald Reagan was a national hero. He came up with Star Wars. Him and Jimmy Buffett. It was Spielberg. It was him and Spielberg. So here's the kicker, though. We got some well-dressed hobos.
Yeah.
On a boat, on a train, right? We all know what hobos do on a train, right? They get down and nasty. So I'm wondering if these guys...
Well, these were, like I said, these were well-dressed hobos, suit and ties.
Well, okay,
hobos
how can you be a suit and tie hobo?
Exactly, that's why they were like, well, that's what made it so weird.
So what made them think they were homeless people?
Because they were random, they were on a train.
So, okay.
Hobos ride trains. Well-dressed people in suits don't. So why the fuck were they on there? Spotted near the Kennedy assassination.
Were they drinking cheap wine and committing sodomy or something like that?
That was not reported.
I'm just trying to figure out why that people would think. Because if I just seen some well-dressed guy on a train, I'd be like, oh, that's a well-dressed guy on a train. I'm not going to be like, oh, that looks like a homeless person. Unless he's drinking cheap wine and banging these other hobos. You know what I'm saying? There must have been something here. Okay. All right.
And because, most of the Cubans hated Castro, the CIA used the Cubans for all their dirty work. That's why, like I kept saying, 5 out of 7 Watergate burglars were the Bay of Pigs survivors and Cuban. Because they used Cubans to assassinate an ambassador from Chile.
That sucks.
Cubans to blow up and bomb a jetliner that killed 73 people.
They did have a lot of, and this was in the 60s, correct?
Yeah,
in the early 60s, okay.
Did you ever hear about Omega 7 and Alpha 66 in your research?
Those are Dragon Ball Z characters, right?
I don't fucking watch Dragon Ball Z. No, they're not. They're terrorist.
Another good porn, man. Dragon Ball Z. I'm sure they made it.
Most definitely. But
so we got omega-3 fatty acids, and what was the other thing?
Alpha 66.
Alpha Romeos and omega-3.
Manchurian, yeah.
Okay, the Manchurian candidates.
You got fucking Alpha from Power Rangers. But both of them were terrorist organizations. Omega 7 was in Union City and Alpha 66 was in Florida. They were terrorist organizations. So normally we don't like terrorists.
Oh no, we love terrorists when they're killing the right people.
These were terrorist organizations directed at Cuba. And they would plant bombs at embassies, shut down any government sympathetic to Castro. Yeah. Yeah, they did a bunch of dirty work for the CIA.
Well, no, listen, Cuba was not completely absolved of any blame. There was that whole missile crisis. Like, Cuba was putting missiles in their...
Because they were afraid of American invasion.
Listen, the Soviets had a big thing to play in that. You know what I mean? They're like, hey, we got your back, yada, yada, yada. They played in this whole Cold War. You got to think, this is a Cold War mentality, man. This is a Cold War mentality.
The only reason the Russians gave the Cubans was to try to try to close a missile gap.
Yeah, so they could launch missiles from Cuba.
But the only reason the Cubans were like, was because they were afraid of American invasion. Get this. The Americans had plans to invade on October 1960. I think that's it.
Yeah, it came down to the wire, man. JFK was like...
Same day as a missile crisis. Same day as they got the bomb.
Well, right, because there was quite a bit of conversation, actually, between Castro and JFK on this whole ordeal with the Cuban Missile Crisis. There was... Can't do my Bostonian accent right now, but it was, get rid of these bombs, get rid of these missiles. And actually, it was kind of a paper tiger, too, because Cuba didn't actually have the missiles that the U.S. thought that they had. They did have missiles, yes.
Yeah.
They didn't have the ICBMs, the intercontinental ballistic missiles. They didn't have the nukes.
During the whole thing, the CIA killed about 400 Cubans in a factory, which was never reported in the news media.
Was it a cigar factory?
Doesn't say, but who knows?
The only two things that I know of Cuba is cigars and Camila Cabello.
And the whole thing about the Americans getting ready to deploy is that the majority of the government did not know that. It was on a need-to-know basis, and most of the people didn't need to know. Right.
Subterfuge and all that stuff. It's so easy for just a few people to really carry out some really nefarious plans, and really, we really don't have a safeguard against this. We could very easily be duped into thinking that these things were actually happening. When your people are being attacked, whether it be service members or it be civilians, you have a very heartfelt response. You know what I mean? A lot of people, it's anger. It's like, how dare these Cubans attack our people when they're just a little third world dirt country, communists, and then there's already anti-communist sentiment all over the place. It was so easy to call these guys the boogeyman and just blame everything on Cuba. Like you were saying, you got the whooping cough. Must have been a Cuban. Stubbed your toe. Oh, well, must have been a Cuban. Lung cancer, Cuban cigars. I don't know, but it's... I
also have a few other false flag operations directed at the Cubans throughout that time. In 1960, an American senator, George Smathers, suggested that the U.S. attack Guantanamo Bay.
George Smather? I can imagine this guy. Yeah. This is the Turtle Man.
Yeah.
Not Turtle Man from the TV show. This is the Turtle Man from Master of Disguise with Dana Carvey. That's what this guy is. This guy is pencil neck, fucking slopey elbow. Smathers. Oh my God. I'm sure this guy, if he did not have a constant nasal drip, I would be surprised. I'm sure he always probably had that little bit of glisten of a booger underneath his nostril. I'm just saying, fucking Smathers. Yeah. Smathers, if I talk like this, Brian, Cuba's bad.
And then, since they didn't want to do that, then they suggested bribing someone in Castro's government to attack Guantanamo. Then, 1963, U.S. Department of Defense wanted to attack nations such as Trinidad, Tobago, and Jamaica.
Didn't blame leave them Jamaicans.
Blame the Cuban. Yeah.
Actually, it's kind of funny. was talking with the wife, and I said, you know what? I said, if Christianity did not exist, if there was no Christianity at all, what other religion would you be? And she said Buddhism. I was a hard voodoo. Give me some of that voodoo. Give me a zombie sex slave. I'm sorry, zombie slaves. Yep, shake a chicken leg. Spill some blood. Everything's all good. All good. That's funny. Yeah, that's it. Leave. What did Tobago do to you? What did Tobago do to you? Leave him be. Leave him be. Joint Chiefs of Staff, CIA, jerks.
Wouldn't it do Santeria?
I know. I've heard of Santeria mainly because of Sublime.
Yeah, it was just Cubans trying to dress up their religion as like a form of Catholicism, so they wouldn't be persecuted.
Oh, so it's kind of like this Muerte Church or Saint Muerte down in Mexico now. All these they're
Never heard of it.
It's the Saint of Death. It is like a Virgin Mary, but a skeleton Virgin Mary. So it's pretty metal. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of come out of this whole cartel, all these cartels and everything like that, and murdering people, and it's pretty righteous. And there are now priests and priestesses that worship Saint Muerte, and they make sacrifices. It's like you said, under the guise of Catholicism, but it's not Catholicism at all. It is murder wholesale. Well, a conspiracy or an operation that wasn't carried out by, I guess, our government, but was actually carried out on our government, was Operation Snow White. On August 15th of 1978, the U.S. government filed charges in open court of conspiracy, theft of government property, obstructing justice, lying before a grand jury, intercepting oral communications, burglary, aiding and abetting. All these charges were against Mary Sue Hubbard and about 10 other members of what was called the Guardian's Office. Now, this was an organization within the Church of Scientology. They had offices in England and in Los Angeles and in the District of Columbia. This was really what this was an operation by Scientologists, or the Church of Scientology, to infiltrate U.S. government agencies for a whole myriad of different reasons, which is freaking insane. And the fact that
they're a cult.
Absolutely, a lot of it kind of started out, as you'll see, with just becoming tax exempt. They just
that's why L. Ron Hubbard
they were doing it so they wouldn't have to pay tax
until he could get his cult to be a religion. So he didn't have to pay all the
during
taxes.
The 1970s, this group of people that worked for the Guardian's Office, quote unquote, disposed of critical documents or records about L. Ron Hubbard and the Church of Scientology to kind of get rid of any negative press within the government. In all, the group stole from 136 government agencies in 30 countries, using up to what some people say is possibly 5,000 agents. Yeah, that's a lot of people. I didn't even know there's that many people in the Church of Scientology. Yeah. Well, in 1974, spies would infiltrate government agencies by being hired by specific agencies, namely the IRS. And really, there was three people that I really kept running across their names that seemed like big power players. And it was Herman, Wolf, and Mesner.
Sounds like
the law offices of Herman Munster,
Herman Wolf and Law.
Yeah,
Wolfman.
Absolutely. Of course, Scientologists are kooky as is to begin with, but then to actually have the gonads to be like, you know what, we're going to infiltrate the U.S. government, and namely, I mean, the IRS is a bunch of a-holes anyway. Yeah. And then just to compound that by being spies. Well, once in place, the operatives would steal sensitive documents and then wiretap other employees and supervisors to kind of glean information from them. The agents would gather info from other organizations with tax-exempt statuses to learn how they evaded paying their taxes or how they got a tax-exempt status. Which, I mean, you get hired in somewhere, you learn how to do what they're doing, and then you go and do it on your own. I mean, that's being an entrepreneur, in my opinion. But when you start stealing documents, when you start wiretapping, when you start planting bugs and stuff like that, when you start breaking into people's offices, that's
hiding people.
Hiding people in massage chairs. Oh, quick question. Back to the massage chairs. Did you get a reach around from that massage chair? No. Then it wasn't worth the dollar you put in it. That's all I'm saying. This is Operation Snow White. The group went as far as to bug a meeting with the IRS that was holding a discussion of the tax-exempt status for the Church of Scientology. One agent went in, plugged a device into an outlet in a room where they were having this meeting.
And this is in like
the mid-70s, 74.
60s,
yeah.
70s. I feel like bugging was a lot.
Oh yeah,
harder.
yeah. This isn't. You're not talking about something the size of an eraser.
They're plugging in
They're plugging in a fucking copy machine. This device transmitted an FM signal. It's like a Yugo, like a small car inside this office. What it would do is it would transmit a FM signal to where these other two agents were listening in a car in a parking lot. Insane what they were willing to go through. These same guys, Herman Wolf and Meisner, actually shipped 20 inches thick bundle of documents to the LA office alone. 20 inches thick. How thick was your old school like phone book? What, 2 inches at the most? So stack like 10 phone books on each other. That's the documents that these guys ship. Just these guys. Just to the LA office. These guys, man, they had some balls, man. They broke into the IRS attorney's office, photocopied sensitive documents to learn the plan that the IRS was going to use to litigate against tax-exempt status for the Church of Scientology. They're not complete idiots. They don't want to get caught because they know that if they start pulling out these gems in court against the IRS, the IRS is going to get suspicious. So they do a Freedom of Information Act request for these documents. They then steal IRS stationery. They forge letters from disgruntled employees. They attach these documents to the stationery that they've already drawn up with fake people, fake employees that are disgruntled, and then they act like they received these documents. So they steal these documents. They steal these letterhead. They muddy the water by sending themselves big. Yeah, somebody just sent them to us. You know, that people are mad at the IRS. To cover it up, it's pretty simple because then at that point, then they can just claim, that these were given to us. We didn't steal them; they were given to us by your employees, by your disgruntled employees. And then in 1975, which is a very busy year, they get the Freedom of Information Act documents. They know that they have documents that are above and beyond what was in there. So what are you going to do? Make a lawsuit.
What are you going to do?
Make a lawsuit against the U.S. government for not giving you all the documents. And in 75 also, they were making plans to infiltrate the IRS law enforcement division, the DEA, the U.S. Attorney General's office in L.A. and in D.C., then also the Immigration and Naturalization Department. And this was really to give an early warning of any impending legal action against either L. Ron Hubbard or the Church of Scientology. Like, these guys had their shit together, man.
I just feel like all these organizations should have stepped up their game, because if you're able to do this I guess back in the day it'd be easier, but at the same time they're supposed to be so secure, so this, that, and the other, that it shouldn't happen. But it
they were slipping. I think they were just so.
You're just saying that because of my shirt?
Oh, caught him slipping. No, I didn't see that. No, I think they were just like, nobody's ever going to be able to do this. Nobody could do this. We're the U.S. You know, we're smarter than everybody else. Well, in 1975, Karen Thomas was hired by the U.S. Coast Guard Intelligence Agency, and Nancy Douglas was hired by the freaking DEA, the Drug Enforcement Agency. Like, these people are getting hired at these jobs. Man, whoever did these background checks, need to get checked themselves. And they were actually able to give some early warning to Hubbard. Like you said, he was able to get out of the country. They were actually almost caught on April 14th. Meisner and Wolf were in one of the IRS buildings. One of them had a real IRS badge. The other one had a false IRS badge. Well, they're up here lurking in this hallway. And this cleaning lady comes by and she's just like, man, these guys are just acting very strange. So she goes and she alerts the security guard that's on duty. So he goes up there. He gets presented with these two badges. And of course, they explain, oh, well, we work here. We have to get some paperwork and whatnot. And the security guard has the cleaning lady let them into the office that they were trying to break into and were not having very much luck with. So he actually helps them out. These guys get the documents. Since they are not familiar with this building, they don't know where the copy machine is. They bumble around and they cannot find this copy machine. They end up having to take the documents to the building that they were familiar with and then photocopy them there. It's like, this security guard, man, it's just like this. You have one job, sir, one job. Not only do you not do your job, but then you help these guys out to steal information, and even the cleaning lady was like, "This is just suspicious."
Well, you got to think the cleaning lady's building. Let's not give her a stereotypical Mexican name.
Senorita. Oh, okay.
Bethany.
Sorry,
So we
Bethany.
got Bethany. What are you gonna say?
I was gonna say Senorita La Quinta, but Bethany sounds good. Sorry.
Bethany. She's busting her ass every day, cleaning, seeing people. They're doing a fucking hair and penny trick to see if you actually doing your job.
Well, let me. Okay,
She
this
knows
is
all about
19.
that shit. So she's got the eye. She has eyes of the Falcon Hawk,
This is
She's seen all this
1975.
shit
So
going
let's
on.
just be real,
But she's just a cleaner. So nobody's gonna trust her fucking word on it.
right? Because she is a minority. She is a minority. Let's be real. This is 1975. She's cleaning government office. She is a minority, no doubt, no doubt. If she's not Hispanic, she's African American. But like you said, eagle-eyed.
Yeah.
On June 11th, 1975, Wolf actually stole a key to the office of Nathan Doble. And Nathan Doble was just kind of a normal guy, except for the fact that he was the assisting U.S. attorney in D.C.
Damn.
Yeah, for real.
Right there.
Now, Wolf and Mesner repeatedly broke into Doble's office and stole, photocopied, copied, photographed all these different documents, these files, for the better part of 6 weeks. And what they would do is they would go in through the law library under the guise of
Nobody even has to break into my room. I'm
Yeah.
Like, somebody.
yeah,
broke
you go in and you're like, wait a second, that glass was turned the other way when I left.
Yeah. Maybe because they're so busy, they don't.
Yeah,
have
you're
time
like,
to
why
think
is my
about
caps
this shit.
lock down on my computer? Yeah, somebody was in here. My handkerchief has been moved. Somebody knows something. Start interrogating everybody in the house. So, like, let me see your hands. Let me see your hands. Black lights out and everything. What they would do is they would go into the law library under the guise that they were looking for information on a case or they were doing research. The night librarian, Johnson, which I'm thinking it's a she, might be a he, but it's probably a she, caught these two idiots bumbling around in this building. Finally, somebody. And the night librarian told them, don't come back. I don't want to see you here anymore. It was, I believe, a few weeks later when they received orders again from the Church of Scientology to, yes, go back, get this guy's personal dossier. I want to see his personal files. Johnson, the librarian, alerted the FBI. Thank God. Somebody finally did their freaking job. The FBI comes in and talks to these guys for about 20 minutes.
Another guy that
Tell
has
ya.
to be eagle-eyed.
Comes in, talks to them for about 20 minutes, gets their story. And this is kind of, I guess, the snowball that started the whole avalanche. One person doing their job, not taking no for an answer, and it's all unravels as we find out all these different things that were taking place and that were happening. You hear about the Church of Scientology now. You hear about all these kooky, weird things that are going on inside of it now. You got Tom Cruise and they got aliens and all this other BS, and you're like, oh, they're just kind of a quirky little group. No. 45 years ago, they were freaking espionage. They were breaking into offices. They were getting information. They were doing all these things. Mary Sue Hubbard, who was actually the wife of Ron L. Hubbard, who was the first one named. If you were going to get a job in a government agency to commit one of these false flag operations, who would you get hired by? Who would you set up, and why would you do it?
I would do FDA.
Oh, I forgot. They stole documents in the FDA as well. This is one of the other places that they stole documents for. You would do the FDA?
Yeah, I would do the FDA to see all the bullshit ass, the chemicals in food, how it's all right.
Oh, like
it's
the
not all
BPA,
right.
the BHA. Any
sulfate,
monosodium glutamates
all
and
that,
stuff
all
like that.
MSG, all that
Okay.
shit.
To see exactly how the corporations are actually.
How the FDA is nothing but, give me the money and we'll be fine with it. Fuck it, poison them. Because all vitamins
Certainly
don't get
not.
regulated.
If
by
they're a nutritional supplement, they can say whatever they want to say.
whatever.
They can say that you're gonna. Yeah, that's why all these male enhancement drugs, all these things like that can be considered vitamins. It's like make your bean grow. 50 times the normal size.
So get a load of this. I think you've already saw this.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Stuff. But we're talking about the U.S. Department of Treasury poisoned alcohol during the Prohibition. Now, it is true that they did it, but it wasn't like alcohol made for human consumption.
Oh, really? Okay. The
No.
research that I saw,
They didn't
they were
poison
like,
it.
they were.
I was on Snopes.
I
or
call it
Snoops,
Snopes.
whatever.
Okay, so you got the real deal.
Yeah, because I'm not gonna believe everything. Can't be too out there.
So they were poisoning the cooking sherry and the isopropanol alcohol.
What I wrote was regulatory agencies encouraged making industrial alcohol undrinkable by adding lethal chemicals.
Like homeless urine?
The main chemical was wood alcohol or methyl alcohol, making it poisonous, which was, they only added it'd be 10%.
Okay, so it'd make you sick, but wouldn't kill you. Oh, wow. So they were...
Yeah, 10% of the product.
So they were like, let's kill off all the alcoholics that would be so depraved enough to drink.
Yeah. Well, it's like they take this poison alcohol and...
So, we're not talking about grandma's bathtub gin here. Yeah. We're talking about, like, legit, like you said, industrial alcohol, like isopropyl alcohol, different things like that. Wow.
And then they added others just to make it taste awful. Like, alcohol doesn't taste awful.
Wasn't Prohibition meant to kind of bring the United States back to, like, a moral high ground? Like, that's what I thought. I thought because they were like, it's alcohol. It's all this sinning. All these things are making people...
That's what they want to say. To me, what it really was you can't have all your... Because the rich could still get alcohol. This prohibition was targeted for the poor people. You know why? Because you can't have the poor people liquored up all the time. You know why? Exactly. So we're going to ban alcohol because we need our workforce. That's why they did it, not for this moral high ground bullshit. When has the government ever cared really about moral high ground or poor people in general? Never.
No, that's insane though. Like you're this is what you're claiming, but then you're killing people off.
And they an estimated total of 10,000.
That's insane. Like they would actually do these things. Like I understand making alcohol taste bad. You ever actually drink gin? Tastes like sucking on pine needles. I'm not down with that. Not in any way, shape, or form. But yeah, no, you never take anything with these government agencies at face value. Just because they say you gotta look. Who benefits?
The government.
Who benefits
criminal.
from these things? Who benefits from your insurance rates being hiked? Who benefits from I'm sure somebody's probably come up with a cancer cure, but they're not going to do it because they don't benefit.
Other countries have it.
Electric cars. Other vehicles that are not driven by fossil fuels. We're huge exporters of natural gas, and we gasoline business and stuff like that. Yeah, what in the Sam Houston?
Whatever makes the most profit is what we're all about, and so far that's fossil fuel.
Almighty dollar.
That's why you can't buy like gold without using U.S. dollars.
And one of the biggest things is, listen, these conspiracy theorists grab onto the fact that Dick Cheney's ties to Halliburton and all these other places, and how he has gotten rich off of this forever war that we're now in. It's all about that money. It's all about getting that paper.
So I got a couple more false flags for you. CIA admits that it hired Iranians in the 1950s to pose as communists and stage bombings in Iran in order to turn the country against its did I ever tell you I went to speech therapy back in the day?
Really?
Yeah, when I was because I couldn't like roll my tongue or whatever. So I am sort of. So I kind of got hit with a DS stick a tiny bit, just in the tongue though, just in the tongue. You know how doctors go say ah? They just go say ah, boom, your tongue's retarded. That's what they did to me. It's you said I gotta bring the phone. Okay.
You're fucking bringing it because I'm certainly not. I'm fucking sticking
It's see, whatever. You read this word. You read this word. I can't say democratically.
Democratically. Jesus.
But yeah, they against its elected prime minister.
How many times has the CIA gone into a specific country, unseated the power, put somebody in place, was like a few years later was like, oops, we messed up, took him out, put some other dude in there. It's like a girlfriend.
I would say at least once every 5 years. Yeah, the CIA is
like that dude that dates that chick that he got from some other dude. Like he's like, and then he's surprised when she cheats on him. It's like she cheated on old boy to be with you. Yeah. Of course he's gonna cheat on you. Yeah. The CIA is that chick. CIA is that chick. It's like, hey, Muhammad Sabine, we're gonna take you out. We're gonna put Ramadallah Humadag in there, and then we're gonna get mad at him. And he's just like, he says that's that girl. That's that girl. That's that CIA.
Well, and if they can't do it, they hire mercenaries and militias.
Yep.
To do it for them, to do their dirty work. And then they
bring in old Sammy bin Laden, and they put him up in there. They train him, and they have him try to take some business out, and then he goes south. It's all bad relationships, man.
Yeah,
it's all toxic relationships. The CIA is just a whole history of toxic relationships.
Also, you got the FBI had many provocateurs. I can say that fucking word. In the 50s and 70s to carry out violent acts and blame
say
activists.
It's provocateurs. I like it. Sprinkle a little provocateur. Got some and what were these provocateurs doing?
They just carrying out violent acts and blaming it on activists.
Oh yeah, pinko fascist commies.
And the last one I got is the NSA lied about what happened in the Gulf of Tonkin incident.
That got us into Vietnam War. The Vietnam War.
Yeah. They made it look like a North Vietnamese boat fired on the U.S. ships to create justification for the Vietnam War. Which, if you know anything about the Vietnam War, the only reason we went in there is to bomb the fuck out of them so they could stay third world. We could have, that cheap labor. Yeah. Pisses me off.
Well, I'm glad they got their hand smacked. Yeah. The U.S., not anybody else. I mean, not soldiers.
And we napalm the fuck out of them. And you know what? That's just a small, shitty country on the opposite side of the fucking world. That's what we do. We already talked about what we were going to do to Cuba. We fucking killed our own people to try to go to war in Vietnam.
You guys are a broken record, man. They gotta come up with some new stuff. You gotta stop attacking our people to get us to...
I think Pearl Harbor was a flag.
I would say no. Because I can't think...
I was going to say, well, think of it. If it was a flag, so we could use justification to see what nuclear bombs actually do to people.
You know, Harry Truman, probably one of my favorite presidents. The guy failed at everything in life.
Well, if he failed, how the fuck did he become the president?
He was one by default. Yeah, he was the vice president of a president who didn't even like him. Who was just like, he was like that nerdy little brother, and we got the jock older brother. Yeah. That's what Roosevelt was, man. Not Teddy, but the other Roosevelt. Yeah, it's Franklin Delano. FDR, who was pretty much a king at that point in time. Crippled in a wheelchair. No, so you got FDR chilling out. He's gonna be king forever. You know what I mean? King God forever. He has his nerdy little brother Harry Truman. Is like, nobody's gonna murder me because nobody wants Harry Truman as the president. And then like 90 days into his fourth term, he fucking dies. Harry Truman's just like guy that's like sitting in the back of the room, kind of playing on his phone. That was Harry Truman. They wouldn't tell him shit. So then he comes into this war, and he's like, wait a second, we're in a war? And he has to catch up pretty quick. For a guy to go from zero to hero, come out and be like,
hero to hero.
Bomb him. He was like, bomb him, drop him, bomb. Man, the Gap Band, man. That song, once that song gets in my head, it's there until I hear it. And it's not even until I hear it. I need to get my dancing shoes on. I need to work it out. I need to work it out, man.
Gotta be the good foot.
Bomb on me. Yep, that's the way it is. I need to boogie that shit right out of my system. That would have to be one hell of a good conspiracy to transfer from FDR to Harry Truman.
Fuck it. If they flying in the sun, they looking squinty-eyed anyways.
Wow.
What? I got the balls to say it. Listen, I don't trust the government. They're criminals. I don't put anything
they certainly are
past them.
They certainly are. Absolutely. And we've proven that time and time again. They'll do whatever it takes, anytime, to get their best interests.
Now, what do you think? You think any of these school shootings could be false flags? Like I said, it leaves a bad taste in your mouth, but you got to wonder. A lot of people are saying they see people in...
Why would a government do that? Why?
This is going to sound crazy, but so they can take the gun.
Anytime you say...
I don't own a gun. I do need to because of the place we live in, but
well, here's the kicker: is when I asked you why, I had my answer already in my head, and I wanted to see. And it's the same thing. Okay. It's because it's for gun control. It's that liberal agenda. So when you say that your liberal government isn't willing to do that, the Democrats were in power in the 60s. These were the same people that were planning on doing these false flag operations where they were going to kill U.S. service members, where they were going to kill U.S. civilians, where they were going to put all this stuff on Cuba.
And this was, the peace-loving, well, I guess not really peace-loving, but the people were
they were in the late 60s. Here's a kick. Check this out. Yeah. As we were describing these false flag operations, as we were talking about these different things, I'm sure, as probably for you, as for me, and as probably as people listening to this, you start thinking about, man, that sounds a lot like the Boston Marathon bombing. Yeah. That sounds a lot like the Vegas shooting. Yeah. That sounds a lot like all these different things going on. There's a reason for that.
It happens so frequently.
So I never thought about it like that. All right, guys. We got a Facebook, Pacemaker Andy Pruitt, Weird Wonderful World. Check it out. We've got our Instagram, which is WAWW, the number for the word YOU. We have our phone number, 313-626-7499. We got a voicemail. Call us, leave us a voicemail. You can actually text that as well, if you're into that kind of form of communication. We also have, what is it? We got something else, right, don't we? Our Gmail, WAWW, the number for the letter U, at gmail.com. So drop us a line, let us know what's going on.
Weird and wonderful world.
It was across from. They got like a little gas station-esque store in Great Lakes Crossing where you can buy like lottery tickets and like Zippos and like nudie mags. So I'm like, it makes sense if you're gonna have a massage chair that's gonna fuck somebody. Might as well be across from the seediest fucking store there is.
Right,
One
right.
that's pretty much a gas station.
That's yeah, because who puts a gas station or convenience store inside of a mall? Really, it's like you couldn't stop on the way to get these things. Like we were walking through the mall. You got some fresh Adidas shoes, in your bag. You got some Levi Strauss jeans. Maybe some of the new Jinko jeans they're coming out with, and you're like, you know what? I need a pack of cigarettes, some Sour Patch Kid, and I need a Mountain Dew, like right now. And I can't wait till I leave. I need it right now.
Two of your blender. You don't want something to actually respond.
I'm like, listen, Ninja, I can really use a margarita right now.
I'm a ninja. Yo, my life's like a video game.
That's some good stuff. Good stuff. That's some good South African rap right there, man.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. Get some Yolandi in there.
I am your butterfly.
Yep, that was probably the one good thing. Well, the two good things that came out of that Chappie movie was I got turned on to some South African rap.
Yeah, just like where were those weapons of mass destruction?